good, man. Yeah, so I kind of want to just start it off like, super basic. Who is G? What is IQ Labs? We can kind of go that like part 2, but yeah, who is G, man? Like, how'd you get into Web3? Or when did you get into Web3?
That's a great question. So I actually got in back in 2020, so a while ago. I kind of, even before that, I knew about Bitcoin when I was younger, like grade 8 or something. I remember it was like $300 something, and then grade 9 it went to a couple thousand, and I saw that and I just thought, okay, there's something here. And I just started on Ethereum. I think the first coin I bought was Shiba Inu. Just messing around. I started on Biz, actually, on 4chan. Biz was where I got my start and like learning all about Web3. So I bought a lot of the coins that were being talked about on Biz like back then, doing all that. And then I just traded, had some success, had some losses, made a lot, round tripped a lot. And then in 2024, August, I made the jump over to Solana. And then I've been there since. Yeah.
And what led you going down kind of the path of going Solana versus any other ecosystem?
Honestly, I saw a funny meme coin. It was a Yakub meme coin. It was like some meme coin. I was on Solana and I bought it. And then as soon as I started using Solana, I was like, oh wow, this is really quick. And I liked not getting sandwiched as bad either. So kind of the fast UX of Solana and just like the charts turning over so fast, having transactions just like hit like that. It was addicting.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you saw that post recently about if you saw the
fireworks
activity.
The
fireworks.
Yeah, I did see that. It was cool.
Yeah, it was kind of nuts to see the Solana one. I mean, it doesn't surprise me. Definitely when it comes to meme coins and stuff like that, it's a good place. It's a really nice experience too, and I know they do a good job of like onboarding a lot of developers and getting them hooked on Solana. So. Yeah, just for like transparency, but most of the crowd that I have that I've been like I've been pretty heavy on the Ethereum side.
Mm-hmm.
I got started back in 2012 for Bitcoin.
2012. That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. Nice.
But not a developer or anything. So, just casual participation. Like I have a node, I was mining, but nothing like I developed an app or anything of that nature. But yeah, it's been good. I also did Solana back in 2021, but I was kind of like, didn't get hooked hard enough, I would say, back in 2021. And then about a year ago, actually, I was getting tired of being like people saying like, there's nothing substantial being built in Solana. Like it's all just meme coins and launch pads. And I was like, that can't be right. Like there's no way that's the only thing this thing is doing. So I went down the rabbit hole and I got really lucky that I found 2 really cool projects that like set me off on this amazing rabbit hole, which has been great, which was MetaDAO from Profit, who I've had on this podcast, and Hardhat Chad, who does the OR project, which is now like ripping as well.
Oh, wow. So okay. Yeah. OR's going crazy right now.
Yeah. Those 2 projects 1 year ago, I would say has made my experience in Solana and covering like builders there more interesting and more engaging and more fun. And it's been really fun to be like on this Ethereum primarily crowd and being like, hey, no, you guys really should check out Solana. Like they're doing crazy stuff over there. And I would add you to this list now. So I'm hoping people that are tuning in will about to get their mind blown in terms of like what.
Hey, Solana's not all for scams. A lot of it is for scams, but there are some cool people on there building some cool things.
Yeah. Agreed. 100%. So with that said, yeah, what is IQ Labs and what are you guys cooking over there? Because it looks nuts.
Dude, honestly, we're cooking a whole lot. So essentially, IQ Labs is the premier way to kind of manipulate and store stuff on the chain for cheaper than ever before. So we do this by storing it in the Solana ledger, which is still valid. Yeah. Everyone needs the ledger to, verify the integrity of the chain. It's not going to get lost, I hope. But yeah, so just by storing things distributed across the ledger versus just directly in state, we can save tons of money on like actual storage costs while still retaining all of the data. So that was kind of the original thesis. And we started off doing like kind of smaller inscriptions, ASCII art, other cool things like that. And then as we've evolved, we transitioned, we can do large files now, right? Like, and one upload I've done like, 4 or 5 megabyte things. And then we let one run overnight. We got over 200 megabytes in one upload on chain. And
wow.
For an actual feasible price, right? So yeah, pretty much we're all focused about like data storage on chain, but it's not just data storage. It's also kind of sending and receiving the data, which is analogous to like internet aspects, right? Because we've also built kind of a chatting application that's completely on chain, stuff like that, like image boards, kind of social medias. So what we're doing is we're laying the ground layer for having like a kind of blockchain internet, and not like in the typical sense everyone thinks, but using like Solana, using the fast transaction speed, the high throughput, to actually move data in like, not real time, but near real time, and receive data, update states, overwrite stuff, and have like moving systems built on chain.
Yeah, no, it's epic, man. I got started with ordinals pretty early on.
Yeah, exactly.
Back when you had to use like Google Sheets to trade the inscriptions and stuff like that. And for me, it was like great tech, and one that led me down like a separate rabbit hole, which is kind of like the reliance on the, Web3 or crypto just relies so heavily on Web2 infrastructure, and it's great, like it's great from user experience or speed or building, all the devs, like maybe it's like less things to learn. I don't know. Maybe there's pros, but sometimes for me, it's like, man, like when AWS goes down and like nothing works, like I'm like, why are
sobering reality?
This is so insane. Like, why are we're trying to build either the internet being rebuilt, or we're trying to reimagine kind of what reliance on these like central servers looks like. And AWS goes down. Cloudflare was the one before that when they had their issues like a year ago, or I don't even remember anymore. That was another one where like the internet came to a crawl, and it's like, I'm not going to go like full, like, hey, everything needs to be decentralized maxi, all that stuff, but it should work,
There's a medium. There's a happy medium for sure.
Yeah.
Exactly. And yeah, that's kind of exactly what our thesis was too. Because, like, obviously, of course, on pure data storage scale, we're not going to compete with AWS, right? With Google Cloud. No, but for like important data, things like this, things you don't want to lose, data that you want to have verifiable integrity for, that's our market.
Yeah. So do you guys have the same issues? I mean, do you guys have like the same limitations as inscriptions in Bitcoin too? Like there's like a file size. I know you just said like 5 MB, and then you even got up to 200.
Yeah. So essentially on Solana, right now, the transaction size is 1,232 bytes. And then you have like 200 bytes, 250 bytes overhead for just like all your like the things formatting the transaction. So you really have about 950 bytes you can cram data in. So we're sending thousands of transactions, and we have systems to keep track of all of these, and then we can pull them all, concatenate the data, and get these files back. So we're just chipping it up into chunks, right? There's no single limit. There is no theoretical limit. It's just how much RPC access do you have, and are you good paying all the gas cost, right? But being the gas cost is
like
now,
anything else, yeah.
Yeah, but being the gas cost is now far cheaper, that it actually, you just have to pay like a little bit north of the minimum transaction fee, right, per data chunk. And then when you got the new Solana proposal too, there's a proposal to increase the transaction size to 4 kilobytes. That would be perfect for us.
Oh, epic. Yeah. That's where my brain went to. I was like, are we going to have a scenario in the future, the OP return? I don't know if you've been following
I heard about that.
The Bitcoin stuff.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've been a Bitcoin maxi, so I'm not like heavily, in those, but it does feel like early 2017, 18. I don't even remember anymore, but back then it's starting to feel like that again, where it was like people arguing about like, is it a store of value? Like, why are we doing all this extra stuff? So yeah, that was kind of where my brain was going, is like, will IQ Labs find themselves in a situation in the future where, you guys are being capped, or you need the whole blockchain as a whole to change so you guys can continue flourishing and working?
That's a great question. I don't know. Some people might look at it and be like, "Oh, hey, you're spamming Solana, right?" But I say, right, break Solana, like stress test the network, right? It's not. We don't have slow block times. Block times are 400 milliseconds, and they're looking to reduce those, right? Thousands of bots every day are just spamming like negative EV arbitrage trades, right, that don't work. We may as well spam transactions that are actually doing something, right? And plus, they want to scale Solana
Sure.
anyway. So I say use it till it breaks.
Yeah. No, I mean, obviously, again, I'm not like a super technical person, but like, yeah, I would agree with that. You know, like the OR team, for example, they broke the Solana blockchain like a couple months ago, or when they went live.
Yeah.
And I know they made some changes because of them, and you know, it's still flourishing. And yeah, I would say like push the blockchain to the limit. You know, like
you get fun. A grant. You get a grant if you break Solana successfully from the Solana Foundation.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, if you break the network.
That's actually kind of great because I think that shows that that's good, actually. You know, I'm glad that they do that, to be quite honest, because it's showing like, hey man, like come build and also come break it. You know, it's almost like a bounty for like for just devs in general. Like, you know, come break it. Let's see what you can do.
Exactly.
You know, because there's a difference between theory and actual like real world use case. You know, it's like, it's great. You can think about all these things like in a petri dish, which is in your brain or a bunch of people's brains, white papers, research papers, you know, a ton of brain power goes into it. And then you go live and it's like, you know, people don't want Futargi, or maybe they do. Who knows? You know, like let's stop talking about it. Let's build it and let's see what happens. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Can someone actually, you know, buy influence in Futargi or whatever? And for you, it would be like, can someone do something wild? You know, I think that's what I liked about Ordinals too. It was that limitation of the size file. It forced artists to explore new ways of expression, you know, like it pushed people to develop tools and apps and like infrastructure that supported ordinals and inscriptions. So I think, you know, you're setting the foundation for that. And I know that you're also building, like you said, other apps too. Like there's a many applicable use cases, because I think you could build a database on the tool you're building, right?
Yeah, we actually did build a database. So it has full like CRUD, of course, and it has relational tables things. So you can do one-to-one and one-to-many relational tables on it. It's actually, I can drop the link. It's fully on chain. But yeah, essentially, just find this. But yeah, essentially what that does is it allows people to build like full stack apps. Like it just have a front end and then the whole back end is just run on the blockchain, which is really cool.
Oh, cool. That's the first time I've ever done that. Welcome, Cool Beans. I sent you the link to the IQ Labs team.
Yeah. And I'm just reading the chat. Our website is, we're currently between websites. Yeah, that's the old one. So that's the one that has just like straight single transaction kind of inscriptions. And then we're expanding that to include way more.
That's hilarious. This guy's asking if you're Barron Trump. It's a great question. I'm just kidding. Don't listen to Cool Beans. Cool Beans is a random dude in the middle of the desert doing some crazy stuff too.
Cool Beans, man. Very cool.
Yeah, exactly. So let me ask you something. What, in layman's terms, what would be the benefit of what you're doing versus like IPFS and Arweave, for example? You know, it doesn't have to be like super technical, but I just like kind of want to hear like the upsell on why someone should build on your data layer versus them.
For sure. So honestly, very valid question, right? Because it's like, if we could do it on these and for a bit cheaper, why would we do it here, right? But it's Solana, having kind of the entryway of Solana allows for like a lot quicker kind of writes and reads than like using Arweave or Filecoin, right? Which is a little bit longer block times and like to get everything settled, right? Like here you can just upload something quickly, you can fetch it quickly, right? And you can just have it ready for users in a familiar interface, right? Just on the same Solana mainnet. So you don't really have to go cross chain to a different blockchain. You can just do it all on the L1, which is all. And the L1 itself is made, Solana, it's made for trading, doing all this other stuff, facilitating all these apps, right? So I find there's a value in not having to go to a bridge to another chain and worry about that, and just being able to get your data very quickly and index it however you want, like on the layer one Solana.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know if you've ran into their content on X, but Ross, and that's a very generic name, I know, but Ross is building like Ross X. I forget I could send you his X handle, but he's pretty much doing the same thing you are. He's trying to limit the amount of dependencies that you have elsewhere, and just put a wallet literally on the chain itself. Like, so it all lives on the code. You have as long as Ethereum, the blockchain itself lives, like your thing will live. And it's like kind of like yours too, like obviously the theoretical would be like Solana dies and there goes all that.
Of course, right? But if Solana dies, they lose the ledger, right? But then we got bigger issues than that.
1000%. Yeah, that's what I like to say. I think at this point, if Solana died, I'd be worried for sure.
It would cause it would not be good.
Yeah, so that's what I like about what like attracted me and brought me to your project. It was like, okay, it's just like one less thing that you're dependent on, one less bit of code. It's like it's all there essentially, and it's gonna be faster, like you said. The lookup of this database is faster instead of it being like, whatever that millisecond is that it adds.
Yeah, and just I think also when you take into account like, the authority over who can own what data, over who can do what with their data, right? Like here, this is permissionless. The blockchain's permissionless, right? You can make your website, you can make your app, you can store whatever data you want. You're not going to get subpoenaed. It's not going to get taken down, right? Like theoretically, someone could store a Pokemon binary on chain with this. Nintendo would not be able to get rid of it, unless you sue Solana, right? Like it's on the nodes. So stuff like that, it opens up quite doors into like the cypherpunk scene, really, like the very, Bitcoin ethos of like, no, we can do what we want with our data, right? Things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been loving that mantra from like in the last couple months where a lot of people have been saying, make crypto more cypherpunk again. And
exactly.
My bags are happy that all the institutions are here and all the ETFs, like I'm happy from that perspective, but deep within my core, like that's not the reason what brought me here. Those people that sell unpasteurized milk back in the early 2010s for Bitcoin, like that was the energy I was after. I was like, yeah, let's build a parallel system or something, or a system that might even overtake the one that we have now. So yeah, I do like the cypherpunk aspect of your project.
Thank you.
Is there, we kind of spoke to it a little bit earlier about the AWS outage. Is there anything you learned from that? Like, did any beliefs get validated? Just anything. Like what, as a person thinking about data and storage and, websites, uptime, accessibility and all that, what was going through your mind while the whole world was kind of losing their shit over AWS?
One of our final goals is to build like some sort of system that can take, say, a whole like website, the whole JavaScript, HTML, like React, all of that, right? And then upload it to the blockchain. And then when you would access this site, it would have the list of which transactions, it would grab them and just order them properly and compile the website and load it in your browser. Like obviously this would take a bit longer than a regular website, but yeah, building things like this that wouldn't be reliant on AWS, right? That would have multiple backups of the data that you can access I think that would be really cool. Like websites on a blockchain that people use would be really interesting, right? Yeah, just unkillable data, websites that won't be taken down. They won't be harmed if AWS goes down. They only have to rely on the chain itself. I think that was kind of something that we got validated by, that we're like, yeah, we have to continue building this when we saw AWS go down and so many projects experiencing difficulties. And like, I get it, right? AWS is way easier than, running your own box, doing all this other stuff, right? It provides you the tools. But when eventually they do go down, right, do you have the things there to actually keep going? So we would like to provide the tools where if people wanted to and they chose to, they could build completely self-sufficiently and not be reliant on anyone else.
Yeah, and this would be, are you thinking like like backup? If the
That's
AWS goes down, it uses you. Like, are you looking at it from that perspective, or are you actually really looking to be like, you could do that plus we
I would
could be
want to do
your
both.
main. Yeah,
We could be and
yeah,
like
makes sense.
of course don't get me wrong, like hosting massive apps like Figma size on chain like that's not going to work, right? But there's a happy medium of things that have a lot of users, but maybe they're on the medium to smaller side in the code base, things like that, right? That you can completely serve on chain, or things that serve very sensitive data that needs integrity. Because again, you can also encrypt this data like agnostic of us, right? It's just data you're sending. It can be encrypted whichever way you want to do it. But yeah, I think there's value in a niche of apps that want to have full control over what they're doing and they don't want to be reliant, right? So maybe that being a backup for a lot bigger things, or just your main stack doing it, right? Either or.
That makes sense. Yeah, I kind of like the idea of like, yeah, like you can actually encrypt the data and then put it in the chain, and then the person with the right keys can unencrypt it on their side as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a dope use case. I know we've seen it's kind of like the old like PGP case, it's like you could send something and it was like readable, but unless you had the PGP key on the other side, you're just reading
exactly
jarbled stuff essentially. Like, it doesn't matter.
That's exactly it, right? You could use PGP, exactly, right? So because at the end of the day, it's just what data are you fitting into these transactions, into the ledger.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I thought I saw this app recently too. Don't feel pressure to answer this, but I saw this app, Anon Mesh, it's also on Solana. It's connected to the RCM project, which
the privacy stuff.
Yeah, I went through the privacy stuff, and I was like, man, I feel like a re-envisioned version of this, or even like BitChat, like on the big.
That's exactly what we're building, something just like that with SolChat. BitChat was the direct inspiration for it. Yeah, just like a peer-to-peer messaging app on Sol, encrypted. Private entries and exits. No one will tell what you can say.
Yeah. I still look at BitChat like pretty often just to see how it's going in there, because I like that idea a lot. So you guys are building SolChat?
Yeah, we're just about to release it soon. We built it for an app for the hackathon, and then we just ported it over to a web app. We're getting ready to release that in line with our new website. So essentially, we have a partner, Cloak Labs, and they're doing so. An entry point, an exit point makes it completely private. It goes farther than just like a mixer. Like, it's actually uses ZK, all that stuff, right, to make funding and removal of funds completely private. So essentially, you have the portal in, which is private. Then you can encrypt your data too, send data privately, and the portal out of the app is private too. So it's like Signal on chain, like pure anonymous, decentralized communication that no one can stop or tell what you're saying.
Yeah. No, that's epic. I'm going to have to go check that out, because that sounds right up my alley to mess around with. I guess under this administration, maybe it's not much of an issue, but do you feel like maybe some of the stuff you guys are working on could put Solana like a big
target on their back?
on them? Yeah, like a big target on them.
I mean, to be honest, like I was thinking, why not, right? True test of if the chain is the chain, and because once Solana grows and grows, there's a lot of money here. It would be interesting to see like the clash between like people trying to sue certain validators of the network, saying you can't have this data, and then seeing the follow up from that. I honestly say we should probably broach that eventually. So why not let it happen?
Yeah, no, agreed. Yeah, and I'm not saying like it could be. It's not going to be like you specifically. I'm sure there's like multiple types of things that would put a target on them as a whole. Even like what did I see recently? Kazakhstan, and they're like dollar backed by gold. I'm like, it could be anything. It could be like something like that. It has nothing to do with like you guys. But yeah, it is kind of curious to see. I am curious to see if that day or when that day comes, kind of how I guess the foundation and also the community reacts. I have a sense I know how the community will react. It's more, the foundation and everyone else, but we'll cross that bridge when we cross that bridge.
That's all we can do.
Some point of, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what is a decentralized, futuristic kind of web look like to you? Do you think it will be as easy as like you're building an app and it's 1 click, 2 clicks, or chunk of code here or there, easy to deploy, this kind of tech, or it's like more top of mind?
I mean, at this point, like, of course, it's always like a layer. It's like a layer deeper than the regular internet and all that stuff. And you have to learn Web3 specific things to develop these things. So I guess as Web3 grows in general, I see more the adoption, onboarding getting easier in general for everyone, just naturally as the tide rises, right? I don't think, maybe I'm being pessimistic, but I do think there will probably always be a little layer of abstraction there where it's not as seamless as Web 2. But, we can make it as close as possible. And there's something to be said for it not being exactly the same as Web 2. Like, this is different. You do have to jump through these hoops to get these benefits, right? So yeah, I would like it to be easier, but a fusion would be nice, but I do think it's its own like kind of separate system.
Yeah. I think the one thing that Solana as a whole does really well is, at least from my personal experience, a lot of the people building the apps are very user experience centered. So a lot of the decisions that get made, it's very nice. I don't know how to like phrase it other than like, if you just download Phantom, like it's
yeah, it's cool. It's got
if that's your first wallet experience. That is a great wallet experience.
Exactly. Like, little purple ghost, man. It looks good. It's got good colors. It's pastel. It works. It's fast. Like, yeah.
I feel like they do that really well. Like a lot of the apps get built very nicely. Even like some of the more complicated apps that I've seen, the user experience is like pretty good for an alpha or even a beta. Yeah, I think I was looking at your website. I think even for like uploading like an image. Like I've seen a couple of your videos where you're like, here's some of my favorite anime, and I'm like putting this on the blog. Like it looks so simple, compared to Bitcoin inscriptions or whatever, like which is not even that long ago. Like it's very straightforward.
A lot of this has been trying to make it straightforward, right? Because when you're sending 1 million billion transactions, you have to sign them all, right? So on the wallet interface, you can batch sign, right? And it does them all up, and then you just sign them all at once, but it still takes the wallet like maybe 50 or 100 milliseconds per transaction. So that can take quite a while. So what we did is we use something like Privy or Turnkey, which is like, so the user has embedded wallets, and it is decentralized, but it's like automatic signing without you having to manage the user keys, because it splits the user key up into 3 separate parts, and the user provides their part. They provide their part. Your website can provide a part. So that's been good for kind of helping the UX. But yeah, the biggest challenge going from the CLI to the website is signing all these transactions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see that happen sometimes too. I know there was an app that I was using on the Ethereum side, and it was like 6 signatures, and I was like, Jesus.
Yeah. And on Ethereum, right, it takes a lot longer. Yeah.
Yeah, it does a little bit. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I think you guys are doing good on that sense. Yeah, so I know you mentioned a chat app. What are some other apps you'd love, either you guys leading up or other teams leading up, leveraging this tech? Like what kind of proof of concepts would you like to see out there exist?
I would like to see stuff for like any receipts, or we've had people reach out to build. This is more tying in the typical Web 2 world, but people who have like, say, these equipment things with like physical infrastructure specs, they're like putting them on this on-chain database, so you're never going to lose it. It's not going to degrade. You can tell who uploaded it, when, stuff like that. Legal stuff, right? Like what's a big problem with like when someone gets sued, it's a he said, she said, right? Put it on chain, you can have a contract, you can have who signed it and when, right? It eliminates all of that doubt, things like that. And just, I would like to see some small databases for just like apps, games just placed on chain, because no reason they can't be, right?
Yeah. Agreed.
Honestly, just integrity for data and like verification that data hasn't been tampered with. It's an upload to the chain and stuff like that. A lot of people are doing things with AI, like vectorized AI data, all that. So there's really essentially anything that involves like sending and receiving data. Like, let's do it, right?
Yeah. True. Especially with AI, I feel like I know the Arweave ecosystem. I know they started building like AI parts too, as well, like as part of their messaging, because like they need data sets, or they need data. That's kind of what you're saying, and
exactly.
If they don't have to go fetch it somewhere else, it's all living on chain or something, then it's
perfect,
better
right?
for them.
You can charge access to it too. All this, yeah,
exactly. Okay, let's see. Do you guys have it right now where you guys are like stable, I guess? So like not, stable, like there's never going to be any issues, but like stable enough where like someone could come in and be like, okay, I see what's going on here. I can go and build something really quickly. Or are you guys still kind of
No, it's not super easy. Yeah, it's not super easy yet. The database SDK we just released, it does work really well, actually, and you can build your whole website right now. We do have a lot of projects building on us, but this has been a lot from just personal, like, business relationships struck up together and then working hand in hand. But we're working on our API and our docs, and it should be released fairly soon, so it will be very, very easy just to plug in and build on it, like SDKs, examples, all this type. We already have a few SDKs, but even more stuff is coming.
Epic. Yeah. These things take time, Like,
that's the thing we've learned. It does take time.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I know cryptos used to like, they wanted like first week, they want everything.
Now or never.
Yeah, pretty much. So, yeah, I think as you said, as you build out your documentation, your examples, things people could fork for their examples to get going, like I know vibe coding is, pretty popular, then I'm sure we will see many more apps, many more examples, better documentation, and everything's just it's kind of like a cycle. It's all going to get better and better, and then hopefully we'll reach a point where it's really good.
I would like to see just a massive expansion of the dev environment.
Yeah. How long have you guys been going at this for? If you don't mind me asking.
We just passed a year.
Damn. Congrats.
Thanks. Yeah, surviving on Solana for a year is a big deal.
I can only imagine, man.
Yeah, a lot of shit goes to zero, though.
Yeah. And you guys have a coin, right?
Yeah. Funny thing is, we actually started as a pure meme coin. And we were just a meme. And then our founder wanted to find a way to store memes on chain and like significant cultural moments. So she was like, why is this so expensive? Like, oh my God. And then she invented a new way. She came to us and she's like, we can now store this for cheap. And we're like, can we do every data type? She's like, yeah. Like, is this cheaper? She's like, yeah. Like, okay, we're going more than just memes here. And then ever since that day, we started expanding.
That's epic, man. I love that. That's epic. That sounds like meme coins, but at least you guys are actually delivering on the meme.
Yeah. So then we pivoted off the meme coin thing and just started building really hard.
Yeah, that's epic. I had another random question, I guess, is, well, you guys aren't going to have like a gateway issue, right? Because like sometimes the data exists, but like it's kind of like with servers, like in Web 2, it's probably the best way I could describe it, but you can correct me. But the way I think about it is like, like if I'm connected to AWS East or whatever, but I'm in Japan, that latency between the data getting sent from me there, it can cause issues and stuff like that. So that's why they have like redundant servers everywhere that you can connect to. Mm-hmm. You guys wouldn't have that issue at all, right? Because essentially anyone that's like a validator or node operator can serve the data. And there's like thousands of them at this point for Solana. Is that accurate?
That is, but there is an important distinction. So there's Solana state and Solana ledger, and we store so we pass all of our data through the state, and then we generate like a proof of Merkle root of all that, and we put that in state, and that's the current agreed upon blockchain state. And then we store stuff on the ledger too, and not every node. It's like Bitcoin. Like not every node is an archival node, right? But there are a lot of them. So it's honestly like that, right? Because not every Bitcoin node stores everything, but the ones that do, that's where it goes. But there's a lot of archival nodes, right? There's a backup. There's backups on Filecoin. Of course, the main thing, the RPC, the archival node stored on Google Bigtable. So there is, of course, Web 2 reliance, but you also have Filecoin. You also have the old faithful backup. So there's multiple sources of the ledger and places to get it from. And of course, there will be latency, right? It's not going to be as fast, but for decentralization, for being able to do what you want with your data, I think it's worth paying that cost.
Yeah, exactly. To have it be unruggable, no one can take you down or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think that's huge, and especially if you want to get really philosophical, like activists, people doing stuff right and fighting in different government regimes, right? They could make websites communicate on these layers. They would never be able to be taken down or intercepted or stuff like that, unless they crack PGP encryption or whatever. So
yeah, exactly. Unless they can crack whatever encryption,
and then that's a problem for all of us. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very accurate. Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Let me see. Yeah. So I don't know where I was going with this question, but I did have something where so the Solana Seeker phone is out. Is there because I know that's a whole new realm where we're all kind of exploring what that world looks like when you have is it a secure enclave? I think is what they're calling it, a secure chip inside
it's just
of it.
A hardware wallet built into the phone. I actually I have mine, but
I don't have one. That's why.
Yeah.
But do you see any foreseeable interesting use cases there with your tech plus that? I mean, I know that's a very abstract question, but
got mine right here. But that's exactly what we built SolChat for. So we built it as an app for the hackathon, right? But we're not mobile devs. It's our first time really in React Native and all that other stuff, and Android Studio. Nightmare, Android Studio. But so this was what SolChat was for, but then we've just been porting it over to a web app, and we're let's just load the web app when you open the app. Who cares, right? So that is kind of exactly where we want to place some of this, right? Because you have your wallet, it's all safe, right? And you can text, you can chat on the chain, you can send files to people on the chain, right? Because a feature we're going to roll out too is actually sending people files over the blockchain. So not just for your own personal store. We could be chatting on SolChat, and then you would initiate a file upload, and it would take time, it would take transactions, but it wouldn't take a minute, right? And then the other user would have their file completely uninterceptable. It can't be stopped, and I think it's going to be really cool once we get that fully fleshed out.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
No, it sounds sick because I feel the keys are there. Yeah, I kind of see where you were going with if you made it maybe only Solana Seeker only or something like that, but it does limit the scope a bit of who would use that SolChat.
Yeah. And something that's actually interesting too is we're on Ethereum too. We started on Ethereum all of us, right? So what we're doing does work on EVM. So catch us, hopping over to Monad or Mega ETH or something, right? Because it is.
I saw that you guys were talking to Soon.
Yes.
Right.
Soon, yeah. Shout out Joanna. Shout out Bao. They're great people. They were actually early supporters of us, and we were one of the first, I think, apps deployed on Soon. So that was cool.
Oh, epic.
On Soon mainnet, yeah.
Yeah, I interviewed Joanna and Bao. Well, mostly Joanna, did? But I interviewed them for a completely different thing, which was it was mostly for content creators and bringing apps from the Solana sphere into Ethereum, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So that's awesome. Small world. Yeah.
Yeah. That's when I saw their name. Yeah, I was just talking about actually yesterday, I think, about something else for
awesome,
Dev,
dude. Yeah.
for Dev Connect. Yeah. So that's actually really cool. that you guys were one of the first apps there. Yeah, hopefully we see, you know, I'm a sucker for like chat apps and just apps in general. I mess around with decentralized tech. Like I've been going down the rabbit hole of the ad protocol, which is like the blue sky one, kind of exploring that ecosystem. But yeah, I'm always nerding out and trying to learn about new tech out there.
You and me both, man. You and me both.
What are some of the biggest pain points you guys are feeling now that you guys are like a year in? You know, is it money, resources, everything is on fire?
Probably RPC access was quite a tough one because, you know, undeniably you're sending and receiving thousands of transactions. So it is going to be RPC intensive. But we've been partnered with Zero Block, some other friends we've made, especially in the Canadian crypto ecosystem, and they've been just like super great, providing us with everything we need. So I would say RPC, I would say UX, right? It's a lot harder to transfer it to a website than the command line. So that's probably been one of our biggest pain points as well. And just, yeah, I would say those two are probably the biggest challenges. And then creating documentation that like, and everyone can use, right? Creating a system that works, but then it's also it's adaptable and can be like, you know, plugged and played wherever someone wants to use it.
Yeah. That sounds about right in terms of like most. How big is your guys' group? Like IQ Labs overall? Like
we got about 5 core people who are working hard like every day.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, and then more affiliated people, but yeah, about 5 full-time people.
Yeah, because I know like even RPC, like I know people have to get creative, like how they handle transactions. So yeah,
that's why for retrieving files, right? We have Zero Block, then we have Helios, and then we have the Old Faithful archive. So Onza, like Solana Labs, released Jetstreamer, which allows you to go back in time and replay the chain and like stream the transactions. So, and it's also free. It doesn't need RPC access because it's backed up on the Old Faithful archive. So we've been using that because it's exactly the same. It's the chain data. And that allows us to not have to use a ton of RPC access for older data. But for newer stuff, it's very RPC intensive.
Yeah. Man, hopefully. I mean, I'm sure that someone's got to make money and eat too. But yeah, you know, like I wish there was like tiers that can help you guys or help anyone really building, not get limited.
Yeah, it's until you kind of find someone who can, you know, help you with RPC stuff, it can be challenging.
What are the priorities for year 2? You know, obviously I'm not gonna hold you to anything, you know, but you know,
I've been working super hard trying to ship our new website. We're like 90% there. We're coming across the finish line. And then SolChat, and then we just ship the database. But essentially just releasing our website, our main website, our new one, and fleshing out the dev ecosystem and all our documentation and our API, making it really easy for people to build on top of us.
Epic.
Yeah.
Hoping 2026 will be that year, man, where it'll be easier for people, you know, to build on top of you guys.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, slight segue, but I have a ton of nodes that I run, you know, and the data on them is getting every couple of years. I'm like, damn, I gotta up the storage on these.
Exactly.
Does Solana have a bunch of smaller like validators?
It's all or none. So you either have to store the full thing, I believe, or just like the recent snapshot.
Got it. Okay.
So the ledger grows massively. So yeah, there is we are going to inflate the ledger, right? It is going to be a big challenge for those people to store all the data, right? So then you have to what's going to happen there, right? It's going to probably introduce, and you know, this actually just applies to blockchains in general. Like as the state grows, as the past ledger grows, right? Like where do you put all this data? So this is a question we've been running into and just thinking about the core kind of natures of how blockchains work, right? So in a perfect world, and something we've been like philosophizing on the side is like a layer one or like a layer that solves this issue, right? Is like computing past data instead of just having to actively store it. But that's a chat for another day. But yeah, it is something that everyone will have to deal with, right? The growing ledger.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. Yeah, exactly. It's not a unique problem to you guys, for sure.
But we're making it worse.
Yeah, you're adding.
We're
to
making it worse. I know validators probably don't like us, but nodes probably don't like us that much. But blockchain's permissionless.
Yeah, because for people that maybe aren't following along, it's like one of the key core benefits of like Bitcoin and Monero, for example. Those are the two, and I have another one like Genosis Chain 2 and an ETH one as well. For those four, I as an average, maybe not, I'm not an average user, but like I as a home user, not a institutional grade person with a ton of money, just some disposable income, I can basically have the whole blockchain sitting in a couple hard drives here in my servers. And the more people have that, the more decentralized, the more unruggable it is, the more available that data is and all that. So if it becomes too expensive for people like me, or even people like you, if you're like building a company and you want a local copy nearby so you're not reliant on someone else, if it becomes too expensive, then only certain people are able to run the blockchain, which starts going against the ethos of kind of like decentralized and like what we're after, like all of us, I think, as a group of people. So then only the big Bitcoin miners and the big institutions are the ones that are running it. And yeah, like you said, some chains have already hit that threshold, some are going to. But overall, this will be a problem for everyone because, yeah, essentially, like there'll be like a few thousand people around the world who will be able to run this, and that's
very valid, and that's a problem for Solana, right? That's 100% is. So, and with Alpenglow coming up too, word on the street is they want to scale down the number of validators to make it faster, right? Going against decentralization. So,
oh wow.
It'll be that's just there's nothing confirmed to that. It's just kind of
yeah exactly. No, you're don't worry about it. Yeah,
but
exactly. Go ahead.
Sorry, yeah. So I don't know. Like, it raises the question: is Solana truly the place for it? Can it facilitate it? And I believe it can. It just I think as Solana grows and matures, we'll see more of a return to like people building some cool, really like just organic, like actually crypto stuff, right?
Yeah,
ideally,
or even like. Or I don't know, maybe people don't want to run the whole chain and they just want to run like your layer, I think about that too. Like
P2P. There's a lot that can be done here. So
yeah. Like you said, another conversation for another day, but yeah, it's something I think about. Like, it's also like not your job to figure out either. It's more just the brain in me starts thinking ahead and I'm like, all right, what's going to happen here?
Valid questions.
Yeah, no worries. All right, so yeah, I think that's actually the last question I had. Something that I've asked everyone since I started this whole thing. So I've been doing content now for a little over 3 years. It actually started as bite-sized information, and this is where this question comes from, is what is your favorite snack?
Sushi.
You went for a meal?
Well, I guess that's right. It can be a snack,
no. Yeah, no. Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Favorite snack? Is it bad if I say pickles?
It could be a snack though. I'm thinking about it like, if you're eating like 3 rolls, less of a snack, more of a meal.
Yeah.
But if you eat one, that's a snack.
I would say I like pickles. Obviously, like some chocolate, man. Pepperoni sticks. I am Canadian. Stuff's good. Poutine, yeah.
Poutine, Jesus. Poutine's amazing, and it would knock me out. Are you from the Montreal area?
No, I'm from Alberta.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but Montreal's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I went there. Was it like a couple years ago? Super nice. Ate a ton of poutine, like you said.
That's the way to do it, man.
Magical place. Alberta's nice too. I've heard very good stuff about Alberta. I have a couple.
I think it's
buddies
up and coming. I'm trying to grow the Web3 scene in my city. So
how is it? Is it mostly Solana folks or?
No, I'm actually sitting in the Bitcoin building in our city, but no, it's mostly Bitcoin. A little bit of Solana. There are some founders running things based here, but ideally we see more of that. So it just locally too, like adjacent from like my project of trying to grow this scene in Canada. So
yeah. I think we're all, you got to be a steward of the scene overall, like even
yeah,
for me,
I very much agree.
Yeah, I'm lucky that the Bay Area is pretty good. It's not cohesive though. It's like we have a scene, but it's not a cohesive scene, which is really it's really odd to me. Maybe I'm not plugged in enough, but I feel like I am. Like I schedule Friday meetups, coffee meetups, and stuff like that, but it doesn't feel. I guess what I'm comparing it to is it doesn't feel like Brooklyn, which is like the New York crypto crowd.
Yeah.
That feels very connected and like plugged in. Like when I went there this past April or May, and that's where I met Joanne from Soon.
Were you at the Solana Solstice? Whatever.
No, she was trying to get me to go to that, but I was there for FarCon, which is like since I'm on Farcaster, pretty heavily. Yeah, we were there for that. She was there. We were trying to convince her. We essentially convinced her to get on Farcaster. I think that day, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe she had an account, but you
made her like start
using it or something. Yeah. So, and that's when I found out about Soon, and I was like, okay, it's cool. But yeah, like the way that she was talking about it, she knew a lot of the people that were from New York. Like it all seemed like they knew each other, hung out, as opposed to like San Francisco didn't feel like that. And maybe part of it is like profits anonymous. So maybe like that could be part of it.
Yeah,
maybe.
Of course. Right.
So I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but yeah, it just doesn't feel like as tight knit as the Brooklyn crowd, the New York crowd. But I think it's getting better. Like you said, we all got to be stewards of crypto as a whole and just decentralized tech as a whole. I know people at work are probably tired of me talking about decentralized tech in general. Yeah.
Same in my life, but yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks again. I appreciate you jumping on this podcast. Where should we send folks? Where should they find out more about either you or IQ Labs?
I would just go visit us at IQ Labs Official on X. That's where we post most. We have a Telegram group. Myself, my @ is 12gauge 12G8GE. Yeah, I post a lot of stuff there. You can always reach out, message me. But yeah, X, Telegram, that's where we're most active and doing the most things. Yeah.
Epic. Yeah, and I'll have all the links to your guys' profiles